Hello everyone, Jeff and Jay here with another edition of Jay's Big Adventure. Jay's the fuzzy one. Anyway, we are starting a new series and I wanted to show you what that project is going to look like. As you can tell from our channel, we are big into BMWs. We have the bike that started it all, our 2012 BMW K1600 GT. Bought that with 4,800 miles on it 4 years ago. We've now got 61 or 62,000 miles on it. Next up is Laura's lovely 2008 BMW Z4 3.0 SI with a manual. Sport package, everything on it except navigation, which is good because navigation sucks in 2008 or earlier. And then we have my 03 M3 Cabrio, also with a manual transmission. I love this kind of barn find. We are going to take it up to the house and see if we can get this old thing running. It is just, it's been sitting for years and years and years. Last time it was registered was a couple years ago, and it's not in bad shape. I mean, the tires are decent. I'm sure they're old and dry rotted. Doesn't seem to be a lot of leaks. It just needs a really good cleaning. It's got a Corbin seat, and it came with a bunch of spare parts. It's got a new handlebar. The side panels are here. It was sold here in 1978, right here in Salt Lake City, Utah. The guy that we bought it from a guy who was going to hack it up and ruin it by trying to make it into some sort of cafe racer, which always goes well. But this is such a nice original bike. I think we're just going to clean it up. So next step is get it down to the house. Let's see if we can make it run. Before we even try and move this thing, we're going to take a look at the condition of the tires, and they do not seem to be in terribly bad shape. They're just starting to dry rot. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, starting to dry rot. So the tire's definitely going to have to be replaced, but at least it looks like it'll be safe enough to move around. Check our tire pressure, make sure that that's reasonable. Do the back, and then get it to the house. And as expected, there is virtually no pressure in these tires at all. So step one, we're going to pump them up. Because we now know we're going to have to replace the tires, I'm not going to pump them up really hard. It's got about 30 psi in it. That should let it roll around easily and will make the bike easier to push around until it's time to replace the rubber. To start off with, we're just going to spray it down with a little bit of degreaser. I like Simple Green. And then we'll just wipe it down and see what it looks like. The next thing that we found was the boot, or the gaiters on the front forks are ripped. Those are going to have to be replaced. To do that, I have to take the front suspension out, and if I'm going to go that far, I'm going to rebuild the front forks as well. Put in new seals, put in fresh oil. That will transform the way the bike rides. Basically turn it back into new. We'll tighten the steering head bearings, take a look at those, and that should really make this thing ride really nicely. Now, one thing I did notice is if you look at the crash bar on this side, there's a fairly good distance between the valve cover and the crash bar. Not so much over here. So at some point, that crash bar earned its price, and I'm glad that they had it on there. If you drop one of these bikes on the heads, the valve covers can be replaced, but if you hit it hard enough, it actually breaks the mounting points for the head, and then it's just toast. Then you got to replace the cylinder and everything else, and it can damage the cases, and it just goes downhill from there. So thank you, whoever it was, for having the crash bars on there, and it certainly looks like it did its job. Now, the next step is going to be to charge the battery, put a little fuel in it, and see if it runs. So let's find out. There's a petcock on each side. We're going to put those onto reserve, which will let any remaining fuel into the carbs. Turn the key on. Make sure the choke is engaged. Cross our fingers. It does run. Well, that is a very good sign. Looks like it is also leaking fuel. So it looks like the carburetor gaskets are leaking. We're probably going to have to replace those. Let's just try this again. Shut the fuel off here. And the good news is the bike actually starts relatively easily. And I don't know how much fuel is in the tank. It seems like one side is definitely catching before the other. But it starts, it runs, and there are no horrible clanking, bad knocking noises that would mean that the engine needs to be rebuilt. Next step is going to be to take the carburetors off and clean them. And I have an ultrasonic cleaner that I bought on Amazon that we're going to use to make sure all the inside passages and jets are clean. We'll see what jets are in there. We're at almost 6,000 feet here, and I ride typically up to 10,000 feet, so I'll probably need to rejet the carbs. I'll get a carb rebuild kit ordered. We'll get some new jets ordered. We'll rebuild the carbs, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please watch my other videos, and stay tuned for another episode soon.